What's up, Silver Stackers? Thank you so much for being here. This is Silver Slayer. Imagine trying to make the entire world go green by using solar panels, right? Solar. But those same exact solar panels are ending up in landfills, contaminating the groundwater with toxic metals. Talk about irony, folks. We got a big video today. This is shocking, scary, damning news, and I want to thank my friend for emailing me this article yesterday when it came out, July 18th. We have a lot to talk about, folks. I hope you stick around because this isn't just one little situation that's occurring. This is almost like a domino effect and really exposes the new green age we're trying to advance into. Now remember, since silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity, silver is the main component as we advance in this new digital technological era. Solar panels is photovoltaics, PV cells. That's silver. See, it's not the silver that's toxic. Silver actually has antimicrobial properties. Silver actually purifies water, but it's the other things. And once we read this, it's going to really start to, I guess, disclose the rest of the more sinister aspect of this. And like I thought, the industry is supposed to be green, but in reality, it's all about money. They knew this was going to happen. They know that most silver is thrown away, never to be recycled. You know, when talking about gold, it's recycled, rescrapped, because it's used for jewelry and coins and watches. Silver is used in laptops, cell phones, all that stuff, and it's thrown away. And now we're starting to hear that it not only gets thrown away, but it's actually contaminating the groundwater in these landfills. So, big article. If you think this video is worthy of a like after watching it, and if you think that this is a type of channel you would like to watch continuously, then please subscribe. I post daily videos, stuff like this, unboxings, giveaways, stacking strategy videos. I do it all here. So anyways, the link to this article will be in the description. Let's talk silver. Solar panels subsidized by California are winding up in landfills, contaminating groundwater with toxic metals. Oh, the irony. California's massive push for adaptation of solar over the last several decades in order to ascertain more clean energy is now becoming a problem for landfills. And just imagine, right, because the Green New Deal just pretty much started a couple years ago. We're just in the beginning steps. We're just in the baby steps. We haven't even really started fully yet. Imagine in a decade from now what the landfills would be like, what the amount of contaminated water would look like then. Do you think they care though? No. They're using this save the planet tactic for money. They don't really care, and I can bet at the end of the day, once this is all said and done, this will be more damaging to the earth and hurt us financially more as well. You know, this is probably a situation that would have been better left untouched. Now, yes, some cases, some things obviously could be fixed and headed in the right direction, but for the majority of it, I'm sure it's just more money driven and not really, what they're not really trying to live up to that picture they're portraying. Much more sinister stuff behind the scenes and contradicting. So anyways, after 1.3 million solar installs later, the first push of panels are reaching the end of their typical 25 to 30 year life cycle. Now, that's probably one of the scariest pieces of information because imagine the entire world going solar and then those same panels, all of them having to be replaced every 25 to 30 years. So not only is that all new silver we're going to have to replace those panels with, but the old silver in those panels probably won't get recycled. And I don't think people understand how big of a project that would be and how much silver that really truly requires. I don't think people understand the severity of the silver shortage and how it just simply isn't possible when you also incorporate EVs and all these other things. I feel like people only look at one piece of the puzzle, maybe a couple pieces, but they never put the entire puzzle together, and if they did, it would make more sense. I've covered articles of people that have put the entire puzzle together, and when you really look at it, it's just not possible. Living in La La Land. And just more information keeps coming out to validate that that theory is true. I mean, 58 grams of silver in one EV right now, trying to cut it down to around 28. Yes, that would be nice to cut down the amount of silver, but that's simply not enough. Yes, we could boost up recycling, or we could try to dig more silver out of the ground, but silver is a byproduct. It's getting harder to find. Most silver is thrown away. And there's only one, I think there's only two focal silver mines now. Most silver, actually all silver, is found as a byproduct. They find it by accident. Silver gets dug up, is thrown away within a decade or two. Gold is recycled. But just looking at the 1.12 billion ounces of demand this year we had for silver, applying that same number to 5, 10 years from now is not realistic. It has to be at least 3, 4 billion, maybe even more ounces. And we could barely reach this since global production is only around 800 million ounces per year right now. I think they predicted by the year 2026 production could be up to 900 million ounces, which is still nowhere near enough when you're talking about already in 2022 demand exceeded 1.12 billion ounces. The whole situation just isn't realistic. So anyways, now for the Coda to clean energy story. Many of these panels are winding up in landfills, where in some cases they could potentially contaminate groundwater with toxic heavy metals such as lead, selenium, and cadmium, the report says. Silver obviously isn't a toxic metal. Silver actually has antimicrobial properties that purifies water. So if anything, the silver is maybe helping a little bit of that situation, but no, it's just kind of a joke. But in all reality, though, silver does truly purify water. That's why back in biblical times they thought silver was magical, right? They truly treated silver as a magical element. So, anyways, I did want to mention another thing. Even like windmills only last, 5, 10 years. So I can't imagine the rate of silver being needed or exchanged. How much that is also going to be required to not incorporate it into people's charts when they try to add up how much silver they're going to need by XYZ year. They're not also, adding in the fact that these solar panels need replaced, and most silver isn't recycled, and how much they would have to be recycling. They don't add that part in. So one expert told Yahoo that only 1 in 10 panels are actually recycled. There we go. The rest are contributing to the truckloads of waste, some of which is contaminated, according to the report. And there we go. I just answered my own question. Only 1 in 10 panels are actually recycled. So if we're talking about the entire world, and I actually just watched a documentary of like a third world country in Africa where their entire little city, their town is solar now. Even there, they're reaching the depths of the world. But only 1 in 10. And out of those 1 in 10, they only last 25 to 30 years before they need replaced. Sam Vanderhoof, a solar industry expert and chief executive of Recycle PV Solar, told Yahoo, "The industry is supposed to be green, but in reality it's all about money. California has been pushing for solar since 2006, when the state approved $3.3 billion in subsidies. Now about 15% of the state's power comes from solar, but that believes the environmental disaster disposing of the panels has become." Yeah, I mean, and then whether candidate A, B, C, or D wanted to win the election, they had to throw out that $1 trillion stimulus deal. But then Joe Biden, after, mentioned the Green New Deal and the amount of trillions of dollars thrown at that as well, and the zero net emissions by the year 2040, and every automobile company by the year 2030 is going to be an electric company now. It just kind of took things 2 steps ahead without really playing the tape through. That's just making a big promise without actually looking at the possibility or the reality of that promise even being able to be achieved. Because if there was even the slightest look into the numbers or the situation at all angles of the situation, you would see it's not possible. So, Sarah Sue Duran, an assistant professor at the University of Calgary's Haskayne School of Business in Canada, commented, "This trash is probably going to arrive sooner than we expected, and it's going to be a huge amount of waste. And then they're going to throw trillions of dollars at some waste project, right, to fix the contaminated water, and that's going to cost trillions of more dollars. And I'm sure the machines or the technology they use to do that's also going to require silver. And probably only silver, since silver purifies water, since it's used, colloidal silver is used in the medical world. A lot of silver is used for this global situation happening, at least for COV. Silver is used for that because it has anti bacterial properties and microbial. So, anyways, but while all the focus has been on building this renewable capacity, not much consideration has been put on the end of life of these technologies. And that's the not playing the tape through part. While Vice President of We Recycle Solar added, there's no doubt that there will be an increase in solar panels entering the waste stream in the next decade or so. That's never been a question. And that's exactly my point. They knew this would happen, but it's kind of like, do things now, think about it later, right? Do it now, worry about it later. It's burdensome to teach those who have the panels what is in them and the proper way to recycle them. Most consumers are not aware of the toxic nature of these panels. And like most everything else that needs to be subsidized in order to be adopted, recycling of the panels doesn't make economic sense, the report adds. It's almost like the Green New Deal is almost like just trying to give people a sense of relief since, the world is falling apart, global warming, climate control, whatever, climate change. It's almost like we just want to put up a front just to calm people down a little bit. But in reality, this is an inevitable situation. It's only going to get worse one way or another. Whether you do this or that, it's all going to become worse. And all I know is at the end of the day, silver is going to be needed in all those circumstances or all those different outcomes. And there's just not enough of it. Recycling solar panels isn't a simple process. Highly specialized equipment and workers are needed to separate the aluminum frame and junction box from the panel without shattering it into shards. Specialized furnaces are used to heat panels to recover the silicon. In most states, panels are classified as hazardous materials, which require expensive restrictions on packaging, transport, and storage. The vast majority of residential solar arrays in the U.S. are crystalline silicon panels, which contain lead, although it's less prevalent in newer panels. And then you got thin film solar panels, which contain cadmium and selenium, primarily used in utility grade applications. And Amanda Bybee, co-founder of solarrecycle.org, said, "There's an informational gap, there's a technological gap, and there's a financial gap that we're working on." Wow. So, anyways, yeah, here's a good point. Drew Johnstone, a sustainability analyst for Santa Monica, concluded it's going to be a really large issue in a number of years. So it would behoove local governments, county, state, and it can go federal too, to have a plan in place for all these panels that will reach their end life in 10, 15 years. But do you think they really worry about that right now or care about that? No. They're putting their focus on other areas. I mean, even with like the U.S. Mint, their situation legally, how they cannot pay above spot or whatever the LBMA, London Bullion Market Association's price is, average world price for silver is. And the guy said, he goes, the U.S. or the government's not going to worry about this situation because they're too focused on trying to keep down the interest on their own $30 trillion of debt, right? They're in such a big money situation that they're not going to worry about the world's health. They're trying to figure out how to get themselves out of this hole that they've dug themselves into. If it isn't going to make them money or help the situation financially, they don't care. If this would somehow give them or help, if, okay, let's put it this way. If helping the contamination of the water would somehow make them money, there would be the cleanest water in the freaking world. Guarantee it. But if it's not going to, then they don't care about how clean that water is. They're going to do whatever it takes to put money in their pockets. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I know this was a longer video. I hope you stuck around this far. If you have, please subscribe and like the video. I hope you do enjoy this content. If you want to watch more stuff like this, I post daily videos. Always going to give you the newest, latest information. Post tons of different types of stuff. Stay tuned. Check out some of my other videos too. I got some really interesting stuff I've been posting lately, and I hope you all enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.